Hi there, Greg Hessel, Regeneration Resources, and today I want to talk to you about survey analysis and when you're doing survey analysis, why correlations matter and what correlations are. When most people do surveys, they tend to look at the variables and they tend to focus on which variables are high and which are low. And that's a good starting place. And in this survey, we can see that the lowest score is for internal communication. It's 4.13, and this is on a scale of 1 to 6. So that's above the midpoint. And the highest score is coworkers. And so we learn a little bit from that. But knowing what's high and what's low really tells us nothing about what's most important. And correlations are a way to figure out what's most important when you're doing survey analysis. So what is a correlation? A correlation is a number, and it's between 1 and -1, and it measures the degree to which two different variables are related. And so you can think of example number 1. On the vertical is one variable score, and say it's likelihood to recommend the organization, and on the horizontal is another variable. And so in the first example, as people's rating on one variable goes up, their rating on the other goes up also. And this is almost a straight line. So this is a very positive correlation. This is a correlation that's close to a +1. Whatever these two are, they go together. Example number 2, they also go together. It's a positive correlation, but it's not quite as strong. Example number 3 is a negative correlation. As one of them goes down, the other goes up, right? So it's inverse. And example number 4, they're not related. There's no correlation. It's kind of all over the map. So knowing which variables are correlated can help you figure out which variables in the survey are important. And so you want to look at a couple key variables, and the ones that I tend to use in surveys, often it's retention, and it's secondly, what's your likelihood to recommend this organization? You want to look at which variables parallel or are correlated, go together with it. As likelihood to recommend goes up, what other variables go up? And in this specific survey that I was looking at with you, leadership and internal communication were both strongly correlated with the likelihood to recommend. That means they're leverage points. Now, statisticians will tell you correlation is not causality. That's true. But if you can say, these two things tend to go together, that gives you a place to focus. What's strongly correlated with retention? The leadership variable, but also the variable that we called contingent rewards, people being thanked and praised for doing their work. These then become leverage points. And a leverage point could be a variable that receives a very high score. I had a client recently where leadership was scored very, very high, but it was a leverage point for improving retention. That just means you want to keep focusing on it even though it's working. I think a mistake in survey analysis is to only focus on what's high and low. It's also important to focus on what's correlated and therefore can be a leverage point for changing and moving some of the numbers. Greg Hessel, Regeneration Resources. I'll have another video for you real soon. Thanks.